Welcome back to Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Jeremy Lapidus. If you are just tuning in, we just went over the impact of a potential Kristaps Porzingis missing the Game 3 against the Dallas Mavericks tonight. We will see what happens. Like I said, I expect an update probably before the show ends, as the finals happen just a couple hours after the show ends. So hopefully we hear more about that. I will get to that as soon as I possibly can. In this second segment, we're going to finish up our coverage of the NBA with some unfortunate news. Unfortunately, passing of a legend in the game, Jerry West, the logo of the NBA, part of the Showtime Lakers. He has built many dynasties. He had a huge impact on so many people in the NBA today. He's been inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame 3 times. We'll talk about his legacy, everything he meant to the game, and take a look back at his career. But before we do that, remember that if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Leave a tip or donation with a message in it. That message should pop up on the bottom of the screen for you, me, and everybody else in the world to see if you do have a burning question about sports. Anything at all you would like to ask, go ahead and throw that in the comments or the chat. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. Appreciate all of you guys for sticking around and talking some sports with me here on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon. But like I was saying, we're going to get into some unfortunate news in the world of sports today. Jerry West dies at 86 years old. Uh, he was a all-time great in basketball, right? He was inducted into the Hall of Fame not once, not twice, but 3 times. He was an all-star in all 14 of his years, and he was the third player in NBA history to hit 25,000 points. He was part of the NBA 75th anniversary team. He was a huge part of the culture of basketball for such a long time. He's been a 2-time executive of the year, so it's not just his on the court accolades that make him such great, but he had a hand in building the Dynasty Warriors, drafting Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. You know, he had a hand in putting together Shaq and Kobe on the Lakers back when they were running around in the early 2000s. He is the architect of the current Clippers. I know they haven't been quite as successful as those other 2 examples there, but bringing together Kawhi Leonard and Paul George both on the same team, he has an eye for talent in basketball, and it's something that will be unmatched for quite a long time. Jerry West was a icon in basketball, and you can't really get more iconic than being the logo for the NBA. And if that doesn't speak volumes to the kind of player and guy and basketball personality that he was, there's not really much more that can. Inducted into the Hall of Fame 3 times, once as a player after his 14-year playing career where he was an all-star or an NBA champion in every single one of those seasons, unbelievably successful. Then as an Olympic player for his obviously his achievements abroad, overseas in the Olympics, and finally as just basketball legacy, not as an executive, although he that probably has a part in it, but just as basketball legacy as a whole, everything that he has, everything that he's done for the sport to grow it, it's crazy, and it's unfortunate that we lost someone like that today or last night. There is going to be a ceremony before Game 3. I'm excited to see what they do for him. But Jerry West, unfortunately, passed away at 86 last night. Everyone's remembers him as a great guy doing so much for the game of basketball. Really, if there's one thing that describes his life, it's basketball, right? He has the most career points in the NBA Finals, uh, and the most 30-point games in NBA Finals, right? He's been incredibly successful. He's at the top of the list over guys like LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan, uh, but it's a shame that we lost someone like that today. And my thoughts and prayers go out to the West family, everyone that knew him, everyone that is grieving. But we lost an icon today in the world of sports, and he will live on forever in everybody's memory. But anyway, we're gonna move on to the NFL here. Aaron Rodgers missed minicamp. It's unexcused absence. Nobody knows where he is. Could be out doing anything. But we are going to talk a little bit about what that means for the Jets. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers only played 3 snaps last season. We'll talk about how much this actually matters, if it matters, especially with a brand new wide receiver core. So stick around for that. We'll be right back here on Sports by GSMC Podcast Network.